Hey guys. So for the last 3 months or so, every time I would go to Ulta, I would stop and look at the Urban Decay Shadow Box. This is $34, and I would look at it and I would be like, wow, that's a really good deal because you get all these shadows for $34. And just one Urban Decay single eyeshadow is $19. So you do the math. However, you know, these are pretty small. There isn't a lot of product in each one of those. There's a half a gram each. So, you know, you do get a lot less, but it's a nice assortment of colors. And I would look at it and say, no, you already have a lot of those. Because, all right, let's take a more detailed look at these. Sin, they put Sin in a lot of their palettes, so I actually already have 2 of those, so that is not new to me. This shade, Indo, is a beautiful green, and it's exclusive to this palette. That I took and I dragged underneath my lower lash line on top of something else, which I'll tell you what that is in a minute. But yeah, I just dragged it about, oh, I don't know, halfway probably on top of something else. I really wanted to use that color because it's so pretty. I really like that. And then this right here, Bordello, I have the single of that. I bought the single. This Tornado, I didn't have that. That was in the Glinda palette from the Wizard of Oz palettes that they did. I didn't buy either one of those. I thought about it a lot, but I didn't. There were some really great colors in those palettes, but I don't have either one of those. So Tornado was in the Glinda palette, and that's a really pretty purple. And Bordello, by the way, is like a mauve. And then Smog, which is like a brown gold hybrid, or a golden brown, I guess you would say. That, I already had that in another palette. Blackout, I already had in another palette. Flash I do not have. And that's like a vibrant, beautiful purple. Mushroom, I have the single of that. And when I first saw this palette, I was like, oh, why didn't they release this sooner? Because if they had, I had bought Mushroom maybe a year before, because I always thought it was a pretty color, but I didn't have any of the palettes that it had been released in previously. So I already had Mushroom. And then Lost, I didn't have that. That's like, you know, sort of like a medium golden brown. Freelove is a gorgeous, vibrant golden peach. I have that in the crease today. I just thought I would do something a little crazy and put that in the crease. Moonshadow is a bright blue. So next time I want to do that look that I did yesterday, that will be a good shadow to go right along the lower lash line for a pop of color. And then Baked Cowboy is a gold, and that is exclusive to this palette. So let me make sure I get this right. Yeah, Baked Cowboy is exclusive to this palette. Moonshadow, the blue, is exclusive to this palette. And Indo, it's like I want to say an emerald green, but it's not quite there. It's not quite an emerald. It's got just a hint of blue to it that makes it lean like a little turquoisey, but not quite. So it's sort of like an emerald with a twist of turquoise. But yeah, so the green, the blue, and the gold are exclusive to this palette. And then Tornado was released in Glinda. The rest are either available as singles or you can get them in other palettes. But, you know, not that difficult to find the others. So I had 5 No. Oh, this isn't 10 shadows. It's 12 shadows. Even better. All right, so 12 shadows for $34. That's an even better deal than I thought. For some reason, I was thinking this was 10 shadows. So I had 5 of the 12 already. So I thought, well, you know, the majority of them I still didn't have. Oh, so let me finish telling you how I use these in my look today. I started off with MAC Tailor Gray Paint Pot on the lids and a little bit into the crease. I put Mushroom, which is this taupey shade. I put that on my lids. Like I said, I already have Mushroom, but I love that color. And then I used Freelove in the crease, which kind of an unusual way to go, but I just felt like doing something different. And then I originally put the Mushroom, dragged that down along my lower lash line. And then I was like, oh, but I really want to use the green. So I put the green most of the way, no, about halfway from the outside edge in on top of the Mushroom. And I have Sin, which was the most highlighty shade of the palette. I have that as my brow bone highlight and in my inner corners. And then I just took a black liner and used that all the way around my top and bottom waterline and tight line. And oh, and before I forget to tell you, I also have on a new lip product today. Are you aware that NYX released some new shades of their soft matte lip creams? And I originally had taken a look at those like in an article online, and I was like, oh, there isn't anything there that I need. But then I saw another picture of this color, and I was like, oh, wow, that's really pretty. I have to get that. This is Rome. So that's what I have on my lips today. So this is the first time wearing this too. So I got a lot of different colors going on here today, but I don't know, they seem to tie in together all right. I don't think it looks crazy. I kind of like this. But yeah, I got a lot of, so this is kind of like a plum, I would say. NYX describes this as a red tone nude. No, I would say it's a plum, but that's just the way my eyes see it. So I've got plum and green and taupe and peach and champagne and you know, a lot of different colors going on here, but I don't know, somehow it works for me. So anyway, back to the palette. I think this would be a great palette to travel with because it's small, very compact, has a wide variety of colors. The only thing I would have done had I been designing this palette is I think instead of doing 2 purples, they've got like a brighter, lighter iridescent purple and then this deeper purple here. Instead of doing 2 purples, I would have eliminated one of the purples and done a beige. Because if you're going to have a palette that has a lot of different colors in it, sometimes it's nice to have a beige because you can tie that in to other things in the palette. Because yes, we have Sin that we can use as a highlight, but Sin sort of straddles the line. I mean, it has some like peachy champagne-ness to it, so I don't know. I would like to have seen a more neutral highlight rather than 2 purples. Or they actually could have eliminated the blue altogether or the black. Because, well, no, it's always good to have a black, I guess, in a palette, but I don't know, this, and then this gold shade right here and this almost look like 2 golds to me. Smog is like a gold / brown hybrid, so I don't know that was necessary to have those 2 because those 2 are kind of similar, and yet Smog and Lost, the brown they put in here, those 2, when you swatch them, are actually pretty close to. Oh, speaking of swatches, why don't we do some swatching? So I think pretty much everybody knows what Sin looks like. So Sin is just like a champagne. And then Indo. See what I mean about this? It's like an emerald green, but it's got a twist of blue to it. So it's not a straight up emerald. It's a pretty complex color, and I think it's really pretty. It's like a teal. That's what it is. Indo is like a teal, I would say. And then Bordello is a mauve. You can do a lot with Bordello. I have the single, and there's a lot of different ways you can go with that. Another thing I was thinking about doing today was putting Bordello on the lid and then Mushroom in the crease, but I already had those colors, so I wanted to try to use, you know, at least a couple of the colors that I didn't already have. And then Tornado is the purple and the top row. See, now that doesn't swatch as deep. See, it doesn't swatch as deep as it appears in the palette, because that's this one right here. And then Blackout, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Blackout. Blackout is really, really intense, deep black, although that doesn't seem to swatch as well as the Blackout that I have in one of my palettes. Okay, Baked Cowboy is really nice. That's one of the new ones, a new shade. Pretty gold. Moonshadow, swatched pretty much like what I expected it, so that's a pretty bright blue. I don't think I'd want to do that on my eyelid or in the crease, but it would be pretty like as a pop of color, like I was saying, along the lower lash line. Really like this Freelove shade that I put in my crease. It doesn't, it's a light bright peach, but it's not too crazy. That would probably look really pretty on the lids with maybe the next shade I'm going to swatch, Lost, in the crease. So more versatile than what a peach would normally be. All right, so Lost is the brown. That's really pretty. Hadn't seen that one before. I don't have a ton of Urban Decay palettes. I have most of the Naked ones. I don't have the new Naked Smokey, but I have all the others. And then I have the Basics palettes. I have Ammo. And the rest of the shadows that I have by them are singles that I bought. So I don't have a lot of the palettes that have been released over the years. Mushroom. It's kind of a taupe, but it's like a silvery gray taupe. I love Mushroom. It's definitely one of my all-time favorite Urban Decay shadows, so I didn't really mind that they had put it in this palette. Now Flash. Oh, that's so pretty. This is like a cooler, like lavender type color. Boy, you could really go crazy and put that with the blue Moonshadow. Yeah, that'd be too much for me, but it would be quite a bright, springy look. But yeah, that's really pretty Flash. So I don't know, it seems like they were trying to include cool and warm colors in this palette, and I don't know that that was really a good idea because it makes it much more limiting to what you can do with it. But at the same time, I mean, you can go in different directions. I don't know. I like it though. I think it's a good value for your dollar, and I was kind of surprised that Blackout didn't swatch that well And because I have that in one of the Naked palettes, and it's really, really nice and silky and smooth. It was a little patchy when I just swatched the black out, so that didn't perform as well. And let's see, I didn't see any other problems except the tornado is lighter in reality than what it appears in the pan. But I still think $34 for this. I think it's a good deal. Great for travel, but I don't know. For travel, I would almost like to see maybe, yeah, I want a beige in this palette. Yeah, I don't see putting two purples in there. I don't know. I think one would have been plenty. So it's just a matter of taste, I guess. But yeah, I couldn't take it anymore because, you know, I saw the little pile of these going down. This is not permanent. This, I believe this is limited edition because it isn't even on the Urban Decay website. So, yeah. All right, I just figured I would show this to you and give you my thoughts on it. And if you have this palette, what do you think? Are you glad that you bought it? Do you use it much? Was it a good investment? What do you think? Have a great weekend, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye.